If you've got a roof over your head, you could probably afford to extend a helping hand to the less fortunate. But sometimes we don't know for certain whether our hard-earned money ends up in the right hands, because you'd be surprised at the lengths some opportunistic freeloaders go to just scam those generous yet naive souls. Keep your spare change away from these 10 beggars who were finally exposed. What's up, Facnatics? This is Discovery Amuse, serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Stay tuned because our #1 parasite took it too far. Time to unmask these frauds.
I knew it!
Number 10, the method actress. There are 3 important words for anyone who wants to make it big in phony panhandling. Location, location, location. And boy, did this lady pick a great one. This helpless woman had been a fixture on the posh 5th Avenue in New York City, a hotspot for the rich and charitable. On a good day, around 50 people an hour were happy to help her out. But at the cover of night, watch as she teeters off, gets in a minivan, and transforms. There she goes, from down and out to up and running. It's a capitalistic miracle. Inside Edition did some snooping around and confirmed she wasn't as helpless as she looked. She meets up with her friends and even goes shopping on her days off. When the journalist finally confronted this two-faced faker, she was left speechless.
And you don't really need those crutches, do you?
But still in character.
The jig is up. Why don't you just walk normally like you did this morning?
If you think that's audacious, wait till you see our #1 entry. Number 9, busted beggar. At first glance, you'd think this guy was harassing a guy with a disability. But wait till you learn the reason behind his wrath. See, in 2016, this beggar used to roam the streets of Altai in northwest China asking for handouts. But the assumed amputee isn't as helpless as he appears, and this passerby saw right through him. Earlier that day, the man saw the bogus beggar getting off a bus. Furious, the guy took matters into his own hands, yanking off the fake beggar's pants to reveal a pair of legs tucked underneath his baggy underwear. Guess this professional con artist still needs to do some legwork. Needless to say, he deserved that crawl of shame. Number 8, pity party. What makes a scam act extra convincing? Throw in some props, just like this man from Kenya. Paul Gachira Mwangi would regularly ask for alms in the streets of Thika in Kenya with a catheter attached to his body. So just imagine the outrage when in 2013 people found out that the catheter was just a prop. Yep, with the help of super glue, a rubber tube, and a plastic bag, he was able to gain the sympathy of unsuspecting people. It's not like he wasn't in need per se. He was caught between a rock and a hard place when Paul's wife died of AIDS and he was left to take care of their kids all by himself.
But we're not tired.
Well, I am tired.
Because of his well-played game of deception, Paul faced charges for obtaining money under false pretense. Number 7. It's a miracle! This viral surveillance video from Lahore in Pakistan shows a typical picture of poverty. A disabled beggar walking the streets in the company of his supposed wife and children. Ooh, that looks uncomfortable. It's gotta be exhausting asking for handouts all day, especially if you're an invalid. So understandably, the beggar stopped by a doorstep to rest. But watch what happens next. Perhaps his arms fell asleep? Number 6, collab with a con man. Now this one is a cool content idea for vloggers. In 2014, Californian YouTube creator Jack Vale received a tip that this seemingly homeless guy is more than meets the generous eye. So Jack did a 180 and turned from internet prankster into investigative journalist. During their stakeout, Jack's team caught video footage of the panhandler receiving lots of spare change from kind strangers. They later followed the guy until he turned a corner into a quiet alley. Maybe he's setting up camp for the night. Not exactly. Instead, the quote-unquote homeless man's rolling off in a nice car. Jack and Co. got curious, so they trailed the guy until he arrived at a fairly decent house. At first, the poser claimed that it was his friend's abode.
No, it's a friend of my house.
But when the snoopers wouldn't buy his story, the beggar got hostile and told them to get the F off his property.
I've asked you nicely to get off my f***ing porch.
I'm getting
okay,
off
no,
it.
getting serious.
All right,
dude.
that's fine, dude. I'm
All
leaving
right.
right now.
Number 5. Unexpected twist. Our hearts go out to all the pregnant mothers struggling to survive, but this expectant mom from San Diego really milked her pregnancy for all it's worth. In this clip, she can be seen with her son holding up a sign outside a local shopping center and asking for handouts. But one eyewitness eventually found the woman and her kid inside a snazzy Mercedes with her boyfriend. The resident, named Melissa Smith, was getting gas at the time when she recognized the pregnant beggar inside the Mercedes, laughing and counting their panhandling earnings. Smith later on saw the woman pull into another shopping mall for an encore performance. Although a local news show tried to expose the MO, the woman insisted that she didn't speak a word of English
No speak English?
and just fled the scene. Neither she nor her boyfriend were ever identified. Number 4. Poor old professor. Believe it or not, this next beggar actually has a double PhD and receives a pension of 35,000 rupees per month. But he's not exactly out to fool anyone. He's a legit down-on-his-luck senior who was forced to beg in the streets of Jaipur in India. From 2007 to 2012, retired teacher Dinesh Dwivedi had been scrounging for spare change out on the streets because his 25-year-old son allegedly beats him up and steals his cash for drugs. And with a leg injury, Dinesh literally crawled his way out of his home to survive. The abuse had been going on for 5 years. Still, none of his neighbors nor the tenants living in his house ever bothered to help until the local government finally intervened. Dwivedi was later moved to a shelter for senior citizens. Number 3. Busted Boomer. Now, whose heart won't melt at the sight of a 78-year-old woman out begging in the streets? Daniel Ayala sure felt for the senior beggar who he constantly saw outside a shopping mall in Oklahoma, so much so that he regularly gave the woman a few extra dollars whenever he could. But as it turns out, this boomer puts the con in concern and has been putting one over on the selfless passerby, including Ayala. In this video captured by one Brandy Newman, a fellow victim to the old lady's ways, Ayala couldn't help but cry foul over the woman's deception while she was inside her 2013 Fiat.
You asking for money in the middle of the street and you drive a 2013 car? Listen, I work hard for my money. I don't appreciate this. And that's why people like you get taken advantage of people like me.
For a frail old lady, she sure has some thick skin. Number 2. Crazy rich beggar. You'd think that poor people could at least afford to be nice, but not Micah Lee Dominguez. Her turf was in Richmond, Virginia's various intersections where she would ask for handouts from cars. She's fine as long as people dished out some pennies, but there was hell to pay for anyone who refused her.
Well, you better get me off your phone right now. You hear me?
She would allegedly throw Gatorade bottles at those who dare reject her imploring. Frustrated with the lady's aggressive behavior, 2 residents named Wayne Owens and Ian Patterson followed her around only to discover something shocking. She actually owned a 2014 Fiat SUV.
Just wondering why you have a 2014 when you're begging for change all over the city of Richmond.
Someone's gonna end up killing you.
How? For what? What am I doing?
Harassing me.
I'm not harassing anybody. You're stealing people's money.
Before we go to our number 1 pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app's settings. Number 1. The Greatest Charlatan. This is Gary Thompson, dubbed as the infamous 2013 bogus beggar from Lexington, Kentucky. His wheelchair and stutter could dupe people into thinking he's a helpless man with a mental disability.
To the restaurant.
Though to be fair, he did get into a motorcycle accident when he was younger, which made it hard to walk. but his mental handicap is wholly made up. He could just turn it on and off like a switch because of his knowledge in speech pathology.
They give me money and to get some eat. Appreciate you guys busting me.
When journalists came to question him, Gary immediately dropped his act and shared his story. Turns out, he has made such a career in panhandling that he bagged $100,000 a year from people's generosity. As if it wasn't enough to trick civilians into giving him money, Gary also duped the state into giving him income benefits amounting to over $24,000 and Medicaid benefits over $80,000. Seriously, does this guy even have a conscience? So, which of them came as a shock to your generous system? Let us know in the comments section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Now, here's something to restore your faith in humanity, or at least in the people you see out on the streets. Check out our countdown of the 10 most amazing street performers in the world. Till then, stay genuine, Factnatics, and see you in the next video.